one question. My other question is also relating to the cover. Why call it latent images?
Well, the latent images, I guess it's sort of maybe a remainder from the first edition. And I still think that the image of Singapore cinema is still in the state of certain latency. And maybe they write another one. I don't think it's going to call latent images. We were a bit afraid to say they are developed images.
Yes. Stage of development. Yeah.
Yes. With Malaysia, it's actually one of the things that we had to contemplate what to actually put in. And sometimes I say it's not so difficult to put things in, but rather to take them out so that you can you don't run out of space, or you don't make it too superficial. And the only thing that really is sort of the coverage of the pre-1965 history is actually that is both Malay film and which was mostly Malay film, but also some Chinese production. But in the sort of the revival period, we did not dig into Malaysian cinema. At that time, we didn't know Yasmin yet when we started. Maybe now.
But for the second edition, I think we did mention the name.
Oh yeah.
But just very briefly. We decided that I think we had to focus the book somehow more on Singapore, because there were just only two of us working, and with us in Canada, it was already hard enough to do our writing from over there without being here all the time. And I think we just did what we could to clarify what we knew about Singapore films and such.
You mentioned that there was this correction with regards to Singapore 21 and the media fusion. Was there anything else that you would like to include in the book that you just didn't, either because of the scope that it was to be very focused on Singapore, or because of time constraints?
Well, we decided to stop writing about the new films up to the end of 2007, and then we had to let it go at that, so that we could hand the manuscript to our publisher and they would have time to work on it and so forth. But we would have liked to be more complete, I think, in updating the film material, film production up to the end of 2008 and that done properly, but we didn't, time-wise it was really very difficult. So, yeah.
Some important events
So we
covered
only
in
mentioned
2008. And then we handed in the manuscript
Yeah, we actually handed in the manuscript last year.
More than a year ago.
Yeah. It took quite a long time before it got to the stage.
Did you see any major trends that developed between your last edition, your first edition, and this current edition? I mean, what did you, without, I suppose, stealing away the thunder and stopping people from buying the book, what were the major trends that you would have seen in development of Singapore cinema between the last edition and this?
I think one thing that somehow comes to my mind right away is the expansion of the short film production, which was there before, but it certainly just expanded a lot. So that's the one thing. Another thing, were certain changes in the censorship area. That was to be another one.
Well, I also think that for the first book we didn't see so clearly this kind of demarcation between independent films and mainstream films. There weren't so many films to speak of in the first place, but this one you can, this time around we can clearly see that there's a trend towards, on the one hand, the more mainstream Jack Neo, Raintree type of pictures, and on the other hand, the smaller budgeted independent films that seem to be taking shape. So these two.
From the point of view of subject or choice or selection, there is definitely there are two sort of a forked situation.
And this is probably too late a development for you to have probably dealt with in your even the second edition. But how do you see phenomena like YouTube, availability of very cheap and very high quality HD cameras available for the amateur public? How do you see that as contributing towards the development of the film industry?
In the censorship area, it's fantastic. It just that will be fought. I mean, you can read things now that you have lots of difficulties to maybe read some 10 years ago, for sure, when it was starting. I would like to see more opportunities to really see films in relatively good quality that would be downloadable from the internet, although it's probably coming, I think. So that's
it's great for research as well. Sometimes when we need something and we just say maybe it's on YouTube and try to check it out.
That helped a lot.
Right.
But maybe some filmmakers here would like to say something about it. What do you think?
Yeah, I want to ask the questions.
Okay.
Yes. In your book you quote, of course, publications in English, in Malay, in Chinese, and foreign publications, particularly magazines, newspapers, etc. What's your opinion? There is an evolution in the film criticism or critics in Singapore in the last 10 years. Is there a better, I don't know, understanding? There are more in-depth reviews today than in the past, in different language.
In Singapore, I'm not so sure. Although I could identify an area which is very important, and that I guess that's the development or rather setting up of repertory cinemas. Be it the cinema old school, or the arts house, or even the ones like the big companies like Cinema Europa or the picture house. That really was. I remember when we wrote the first edition. There was only basically the picture house, and that was really sort of on the way out, so to say. It was very on a shaky ground. And now it seems to me that that has changed a little bit, the situation. And then naturally the arrival of DVDs is nothing to do with Singapore, but I consider that sort of a silent revolution in availability or access to films. That I remember when I was teaching here at the Nanyang Poly in 1998, 1999. And I remember at that time there was in the library there was a number of films that were available to students. They were all on VHS that time, and there were scratches, and some things were scratched so that like censored by nobody knows who, but you could not do it very easily with DVD, and DVD is so small to transport, to bring, to mail, to store. Cheap, quality is much better. I know even the best VHS is there's no way to compare with DVD. So I think that all of these things together have really changed, are changing the situation. But back to your question, in the newspapers, I would like to see more. Although there is more coverage abroad, obviously, that's another thing.
I think that there's quite a lot of coverage now, and increasingly so, it seems to me, on the web, on the website.
Yeah.
So, like Stefan here, he's blogging on Singapore cinema, and it's wonderful. And I think there's a lot of interest too among the younger people, and they are just throwing their comments, whatever. They're not trying to say whether they like something or not, and whether they are right or not is another matter. But they are willing to invest the time to write about what they think, and what they see.
That's true.
Another question, since you mentioned the division